Just want to start the show. Shout out to my father, Brian Lee.
Shout out Brian, man.
Hope you're enjoying listening to this while driving somewhere for work.
I love that, dude. That's the best time, man.
Oh, yeah.
You get in. I used to work at the golf course at Oakhurst down
Yeah.
in Clarkston, Lake Orion area. I go out in the ball shagger, right, picking up at the range. Dude, rip through like three podcasts.
What do you think I did all summer? I'd
That's
listen
true.
to your podcast.
That's true. You remember you telling me
Yeah.
actually the exact same thing. I told you. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I work golf maintenance all summer. Always listen to the podcast.
If you're in a golf shagger right now, welcome back to Division I Rejects. This is episode 88. I'm Kobe Manzo. He's Trevor Lee. And I got the D1R red on today.
Oh, yeah. Planned
Love
it out, actually.
We've got a great episode for you today. Another guy going to be wearing the D1R red, a.k.a. the Buckeye red, is Gerren DuHart. He's a graduate assistant on the defensive side of the ball with helping out with corners at Ohio State University. And the story with Gerren that Trevor and I were just talking about is that very cool perspective in that he was a Division II athlete, played at Wayne State University here in the GLIAC, and then went on to be the corners coach at Wayne State, took a GA job with Michigan State, and now is over at Ohio State. So that was the spark notes of his journey. Obviously, a lot of tumultuous ups and downs throughout that. We talked to him all about it, but just a very cool perspective from him. I really enjoyed our conversation. But otherwise, at the D2 level, data from the D2 transfer portal has been released by the NCAA for the first time ever, because obviously transfer portal hasn't really been around
right.
in the grand scheme of things, hasn't really been around very long. That covers the 2021-2022 academic year. So we're going to read all about how many guys and girls, transferred, landed, had athletic scholarship money, didn't, those type of statistics. Then moving on, some NFL side of things. Bobby Wagner, released by the Rams. Kyle Trask might be the starting quarterback for the Bucs. They might really be happy about that, sounds like. I don't know, but then other professional football is going to dominate a little bit of our conversation today. We're going to go through and rate all of the XFL uniforms, all 8 teams.
I think so.
Sounds about right. So we're going to go through and rate all those. Some really clean looks coming out of the XFL, which kind of an uphill battle when your league is Under Armour uniforms, I would say. Would you agree with that?
They're not. They're not bad.
They're not, and I've been really impressed. But Under Armour just doesn't have the reputation of a Nike or an Adidas. You know what I mean? To do that.
I didn't even know. Do they even make uniforms for high schools and stuff?
That's a great question. I don't
even know.
I just know that they partnered because of the Rocks brand, Project Rock.
You can see that
exactly
in the back of their jerseys. It has the bull,
which is a dope logo.
Oh, it is. It's sweet.
Love it. Love the Project Rock gear. But then after we go through rate the XFL uniforms, talk about the first ever USFL college draft, the 2023 college draft, which if you follow us on any of our socials, you saw that there were 6 Division II guys selected in the USFL draft. 1 NAIA guy who we probably will have on the podcast next week.
Really?
Big time.
Awesome.
Big time. I don't want to, speak it. I'm speaking into existence, but I'm talking with him. We're going to set up a time and get him on here. So I'm really excited about that. I won't name drop anything, but go check out the socials. Instagram at Division I Rejects, Twitter at D1_Rejects. I'm excited about that conversation. So before we get to all that fun stuff, if you're listening on YouTube, use the timestamps. Red bar at the bottom of the video. Fast forward to any part of the video you want to listen to. You want to listen to Gerren? Go ahead. Quit listening to me. Otherwise, listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Overcast. We're everywhere. You can't escape it. Let's get to the conversation with Gerren. Joining us tonight, guy that played D2 football at Wayne State here in the GLIAC, coached for the Warriors before moving on to the staff at Michigan State. He's just taken a position with the Buckeyes. He's in the drip already. Gerren DuHart. My man, I already got you decked out. As soon as you put the camera on, the new gear is already up. I love it, man.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm pumped to get you back on. Like I said, you took a little bit of a brief intermission, between your last appearance on a pod to now. You got to fill me in, man. Catch us up with what you've been up to.
Yeah, man. So last time I came on, I was with Wayne State, right?
Yeah.
So that was 2019, probably 2020. So I spent 2019, 2020 with the Warriors, and then ended up, just getting a call and by the defensive coordinator to come on to Michigan State. So I got there in spring of 2021, man, and from there, it's kind of been a roller coaster from there, man. Obviously getting adjusted to being in Power 5 football, and I guess the different things that kind of come with that, and just getting adjusted to that level. So spent 2 years there. 2021 went to the Peach Bowl that year. We went 11-2. The year was crazy. And then 2022 we went 5-7. So and then kind of the same thing happened, man. I ended up getting contacted by the Buckeyes, man, and talked to them for a little bit before everything happened, and they had me come down and interview, and offered me the job a couple of days later. So I've been here for almost 2 weeks now, man, and it's been nothing but exceptional and amazing so far, man. So really good experience, man. Really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I remember I reached out to you. You're still at Michigan State, and you were like, yeah, let's get on. Like, after signing day, things will settle down a little bit. And then I come on Twitter, and I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's not – he's going to Ohio State now. I'm like, even more reason to get this dude on to talk about it, man. I might imagine, like, pretty hectic stuff. But, I mean, both at Michigan State and now going over to the Buckeyes, just chances to learn from really experienced coaches, both, like you said, Power 5 football in the Big Ten. You can't replicate that. Talk about what that's like.
Yeah, man. So at Michigan State, I was actually under Coach Harlan Barnett, who's actually been with the Spartans for a long time. Spartan Dog, played for him. Was in the league for a minute, and then under Coach Mel Tucker. So Coach Mel Tucker is actually coaching the corner. So a very very unique experience being able to be under him and learn how he coaches corner, because I've coached corners my whole life. So being able to learn under him, and he Coach Tucker coaches with great detail. So just being able to break everything down and make sense of how he does things, and which is really good. I'm grateful to have experienced that, and now I'm under Coach Tim Walton, who he's been in the NFL for a long time as well.
I'm gonna say that's a big name in itself, right there, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know he's had some of the NFL greats come on and speak on his behalf, and just being under him so far, has been really good as well too. I learned a great deal already, and then Coach Perry Eliano is a safeties coach, so I get to listen under Coach Perry and see what he has to say for the safeties, and understand what he's teaching over there. So I got some. So yeah, man, I got some really good guys I've been able to learn from, man, which is a blessing being so young in my career.
Yeah, man, and those are people that are gonna hopefully vouch for you in the future and be guys you can use as references, those type of things. And Mel Tucker, wasn't he coach corners at Bama, correct?
Yeah.
So can we say officially that you're part of the Saban tree now? Is that how that works?
Nah,
I think that's kind of like there's some type of connection right there. It's like a second removed cousin or something along those lines in the family tree. But yeah, you're up there, man. I'm happy for you. It's exciting stuff.
No, appreciate it, man. And I know like a lot of those guys have been under Saban at some point. So Coach Barnett, he was under Saban when he was at LSU back in the day. I think it was like 2003. So he won that national championship with Saban.
Didn't know that.
Obviously, Coach Tucker's been under Saban multiple times at Michigan State, LSU, and then Bama again in 2015. And then Coach Walton was under Saban, I want to say in 2003 as well with Coach Barnett. So Coach Barnett and Coach Walton actually know each other.
Like, who has this man not like impacted in the college coaching world? That is ridiculous. I knew about the Mel Tucker one's obvious, but that's wild.
Yeah, it's a small world, man.
It is, man. Smaller than it seems. But what I really wanted to kind of get at, in your opinion, seeing as you've been at Wayne State, now you've made this big jump to coaching some really talented guys. I wanted to know, in your opinion, what's the biggest difference between the DBs that you coached in the GLIAC at a Wayne State compared to the guys that you've been helping coach in the Big Ten? Is there one piece of their game that really separates them from those D2 guys?
It's speed, really. Speed. For the most part, like you're gonna have like the best athletes in the world, like especially at corner, like you gotta be able to, naturally I think that corners are the best athletes on the field anyway. So you elevate from Division II to, Division I Power 5, you're gonna get the best athlete on the field every single time, and a lot of that speed, because these dudes gotta run with everybody.
Yeah. 100%. And now you talk about that because you got to keep up with the dudes that are on the other side of the ball. And so kind of going right off of that, there are some names that pop out like Jaden Reed as of late or someone like that. But who's a dude that, whether they're on your roster or someone you had to game plan against, that was just a problem for a secondary? Is there anyone that jumps out like that you had to go up against, or you or your guys?
Oh yeah, man. Obviously, Jay Reed was always a problem, man. Jay Reed was very hard to get hands on, man. And I think the other dude who I'm with now is Marvin Harrison Jr., man.
Yep, 100%. Great answer. Yep, he's a guy that I mean, I guess you could say draft stock, even though depending on who you're talking to, has just continued to go up, and they've produced like a ton of really talented wide receivers in the last couple of years. So that's got to be something that going over there, I mean, there's a standard to uphold. And also on the other side of the ball, I feel like that would almost be a challenge to the guys that are lining up across from every single day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it is, because you got to take those talents, man, and like you got to be able to compete with those guys consistently, and I think another guy that I had a blessing to kind of go against was Keon Coleman over there at Michigan State.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I think Keon Coleman is very, very underrated. You know what I mean? Keon Coleman is one of the elite competitors in college football, man. And like you get guys like that who, like, you never know where they're going to catch the ball. You know, like they're big, they're strong, they're fast, but at the same time, like they're so athletic that like you got to deal with all that stuff too. So
yeah, I hear you, man. We heard Deion say, and Deion says a lot, but we heard Deion say that the biggest jump going up from level to level was the trenches. I don't know if you've heard him talking about that. The O-line and the D-line, that's the biggest difference from each level. You think he's right along the lines on that one?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I mean, so like now, like you get those linemen who are, 6'6", 320, 340, but like can run too,
Yeah.
Like especially like the foot speed, man. Like those dudes are bigger, stronger, and those dudes are quicker too. You know what I mean? So like the trenches are completely different coming from D2 to Power 5. I can definitely say that.
Yeah. Now I gotta ask, did you see your guy Jarrett Horst, first overall pick, USFL draft? Did you see the graphic that they put out for him?
I did see the graphic. I didn't zero in on it, but I saw it.
Man, we're gonna talk about it a little bit later. I'm talking like Jarrett's a great player. I've seen just a little bit of tape on him. Obviously, they think he's a great guy to go ahead and pick him in, that selection, but they got him. Looks like potentially getting beat on this graphic.
Looks like he's getting beat.
A little bit of a hold going on, and what makes the worst part is that's a Michigan guy that he's going up against. And I thought they drafted the Michigan guy. And I look at the name, look at the school. I'm like, wait a minute.
It shows the Michigan guy more than even him. Doesn't make any sense.
It was a blunder. I felt bad for dude because he did not deserve that, but obviously a huge congratulations to him. I wanted to know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, it's my guy Horace, man. It's my dude.
He's I just felt for him. That's all. I just wanted that. We're going to talk about it a little bit later, but that was definitely an interesting thing with that USFL college draft that they did. But kind of to get back to you, talking about that transition, going from the roster to the coaching staff at Wayne State, not something that I've ever really looked to do, but actually something that I've talked with my coaches a little bit about now, because 2 knee surgeries in, you're like, the back of your head, like maybe, hang it up sometime here, especially if I do another one. But is that something you always wanted to do to make that transition, or where did that come about?
So you talking about going from like Wayne State to Power 5?
No, more so about going from playing to being on the other side and coaching and really helping out on that side of things.
Oh, I got you. So, I had never really originally planned to coach. Like that was never ever my plan. I kind of just got back into it just because my past coaches have hit me up and asked me to come back and be a part of the program.
That's awesome.
And I wasn't doing what I wanted to do in my life at that point. I was still building up to what I wanted to do. So, I started coaching in the meantime, and then it kind of developed into this, which is crazy. So, that's kind of how that came about.
I feel like that's the biggest compliment you could get from a former coach, is like that they believe in you that much and they endorse you that much that they want you to come back, even if, like you said, like you don't have experience at the time. Obviously, not talking about now. At the time, you don't have experience doing that. They believe in what you do and what you stand for so much that they want you to come back and be a part of the whatever they're building. That's got to feel great, man.
Yeah, man. No doubt. I mean, like the first school I went to was Toledo Central Catholic, and Greg Dempsey down there. He's had a lot of he's had a lot of success down there, and for him to ask me to come back was huge, because I don't know how many guys he actually asked to come back.
Yeah.
And then Paul Winters was kind of the same deal. I had a lot of success at Wayne State, and he was the head coach. And for him to come back and ask me if I wanted to join again, and for the possibility of getting my master's, and to be able to advance my life and my lifestyle, was attractive to me. So yeah, no, I definitely thank those guys for asking me to come back, and here I am.
Yeah, I love it, man. And obviously you've seen the new hire down at Wayne State with Coach Wheatley, to talk about the experience that he's had. I got to imagine that for guys like you, I mean, obviously you had a great relationship with Coach Winters, but you got to feel like that this program definitely is making hopefully some right moves to be back in contention. And, it's not that the winning for them has been that far away. I go back just to 2019 where they beat Grand Valley and they had a year like that. But, talk about your perspective on that and what you've seen from them in the last couple months.
Yeah, man. So it's actually funny, because one of my close friends and one of my close teammates at the time when I played, Antoine Robinson, he was the defensive coordinator.
Oh yeah, we've had Antoine on the show actually.
Oh yeah.
Not since he's been at Wayne. We got to get him back on though.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So he's been the one that's really kind of keeping me updated and everything like that. But he's had a very Coach Wheatley. He's had a very positive response and reaction to getting hired down there, because a lot of the guys that I've been around have kind of asked me about the position and kind of just about the program and stuff like that, and they kind of seemed to heard Coach Wheatley was getting hired, man. So I think it's very good for the city, man, and I think they're going to have an opportunity to shape that program and kind of run it how they want to. So they got all the possibilities in the world to be great.
Yeah, we actually had a corner from Wayne on just last week, Drake Reed. Yeah, I was saying.
Yeah, Drake Reed is my guy, man.
I was say I figured. So we had Drake on, and I was telling him, man, like watching the presser with Coach Wheatley, I was like, I don't play for him, I don't know him, but I'm ready to go hit someone for him. Like I loved it. And he said, he told me the first thing he said was like, yeah, he toned that shit down too. Like we got in the weight room, like the first time we got in the weight room, he said he wouldn't repeat it on here. So that's probably okay. But he said the energy was like, the bar was set immediately. I love it, dude.
That's good for them, man. That's what they need.
Yeah.
That's what they need, man. Breath of fresh air for them.
100%. Now, kind of go back a little bit, a couple more things for you. Guys in my position, guys that were in your position playing at this level that, maybe do or don't have plans of getting back into the game and staying around it. I just wanted to pick your brain. What kind of advice do you have for them about getting on the other side of it, getting into the coaching of things, and if anything, about your journey? Would you go back and change any part of how you handled it, or what would you tell these guys that are potentially trying to get into it?
I think you just gotta understand that you're gonna have to sacrifice. You're gonna have to grind. You just gonna have to do whatever it is that you got to do for however long it is to get to where you want to go. Everything ain't gonna be pretty. You might be broke. That's how it was for me. But really just put your head down, grind, and just focus on getting better. Like don't focus on, I guess, moving up, or don't focus on like your position and what you're doing, but really focus on, your craft and getting better at that every single day, because, that's what really counts. Because, at some point you're going to be in a position where it is your turn. And if you aren't ready when your turn comes, then like that's on you. Like you're screwed. So the main advice is just keep your head down, grind, and sacrifice, man. I think like that whole sacrifice part is huge, because there are going to be things that you want to do, or that you don't want to give up, that you have to give in order to get.
Yeah.
Like for example, like when I was at Wayne State, like I was sleeping in the back of the stadium for 2 years. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I wasn't really getting paid, but I was sleeping in the back of the stadium. Like I wasn't really going out like that. Like I couldn't, because I couldn't afford anything. Couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But for being young, like what do you want to do? You want to go out, you want to kick it, you want to have some money in your pocket, but you're gonna have to let some of the things go in order to be able to advance in the future. So, just stay down for the come up, man, and just grind it out.
Man. I mean, this is a long quote, but I'm gonna get it printed somewhere, man. That was good stuff. I mean that. That was really good stuff. And I know, like, you know, I don't know you like that, but just from talking to you a couple times, having a couple exchanges, like, you're going to end up getting it. You're going to end up making it for sure. I'm excited to see where that is. I don't know where that is. Shoot, you might not even know where that is, but you're going to end up making it.
I don't, man. I don't. Yeah. I don't, man. And you know, I follow the same advice I just give you. You know what I mean? Like, I just keep my head down and I just grind, you know, because I know, like, at some point, my name's going to be called to do what I've been hoping to do for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have to continuously prepare myself, because you never know when the opportunity is going to come. Like, this opportunity can come tomorrow. It could, like, out of nowhere. But if I'm not ready for it, then the opportunity is gone. So keep your head down, enjoy it, man, and just, you know, grind it out and prepare yourself. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready.
I love that. I love that. That's anything in life, man. That's how you just gotta treat it. I love that. But for you, and I've asked this to a bunch of guys, and I'm curious always to hear their answers because they're usually different. And guys have told me that getting into coaching, you know, their aspiration. You talked about getting better at your craft. You know, I've had guys say, I want to be the best defensive line coach in the country. No aspirations of being a defensive coordinator or a head coach or coaching at any level, wherever they're at, just to, you know, be perfect or as close to perfect as they can as their craft. Is there an end goal for you? Or, I mean, right now, obviously, just as early as you are in your career, just figuring it out as you go along.
Yeah, so the end goal for me is to be a head coach in college football.
Okay, sweet, man.
You know, one of the things I do want to do is experience all levels of football. You know, so obviously experiencing the NFL level is, you know, still there for me as to, you know, what I want to do. So, but, you know, the end goal at the end of the day is to be a head coach in college football and, you know, get to a place to where I can really build and the athletic administration really supports football, because that's where it's going to come from. So,
yep, 100%. That's all I got for you, man. I really appreciate you. That flew by. We were almost like 20 minutes into this thing. But I'm serious. Like, that was really strong stuff. And, like, just hearing you talk about all that stuff, like I said, I'm excited to see. You're only 2 weeks into over being at Ohio State?
Yeah, man, 2 weeks in.
I'm excited to see how that shakes out for you, and, you know, whatever comes next, I'm definitely going to be following along. And like I said, I know you're going to make it somewhere, and I'm just excited to see where that is and where you really find roots and start to build something.
Thank you, man. You know, it's a journey, man. So, you know, like I said, I'm gonna just keep my head down and just grind it out. You know, keep perfecting my craft, man. And you know, I always be tuning in to you guys, man. I think you guys do a really good job of getting some really quality guests on here, man. And you know, obviously I've seen the transformation from you guys from then to now. You know what I mean? So, you know, so keep grinding on your end too, man. And, you know, keep that progress up, man. And if you guys need anything, man, you know where to find me.
My man, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, man. Hey, like I said, that's all I got for you. I always promise everyone I'll keep it somewhat brief. I ain't gonna hold you forever. But like I said, I appreciate you a ton, man. Looking forward to seeing a ton of great stuff from you in the future. All right?
All right, man. Take it easy. Go
You
Bucks.
too, man. We'll see you. Yeah. All right. Good stuff talking with Gerren. Second time, like I've said, second time having him on the podcast. I would tell you to go back and watch the first podcast that we have him on, but I don't actually believe you can watch it. I think it was an audio-only podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have a studio.
Where'd you film that one
like
at?
This. All the cameras. Was that
back in high school?
So that was back in 2020. That might have actually been in my dorm room. Either my dorm room or I was home for break and I was on the couch in my basement. So
look at where you come.
It's just special stuff. It's really cool. So like I said, go back and listen to it if you want. I'm sure it was a little more cringy conversation on my end because I don't think I'm as natural, hopefully, as I am now. But Gerren was still spitting some really good stuff and talk about like the struggle, right? Of like, you know, he was very open about it. I slept in the stadium when I was there. Like that is
a unique perspective.
And it's tough to admit that. You know what I mean? To come on here and say some stuff like that, I feel like it's hard to not want to glamorize what it is that you're doing, right? And try to like make it seem more appealing, you know, kind of what you've been through. But it's really cool stuff. I was really happy that he shared that type of stuff with us. But we can look at the data from the D2 transfer portal. And Trevor, I'll pull up the tweet here that I'm referencing. We'll go through some numbers. I'll also pull up the article in question, and that is not it. But let's see. No, I don't want to do that for me. There it is. The NCAA released their transfer portal data on D2 student athletes for the first time ever. Here are a few quick takeaways. So just some, I guess, disclaimers before we kind of dive into this is that the transfer data for this covers the 2020 to 21 and the 2021 to 22 academic years. This is the first year the NCAA has published data from the Division II transfer portal, and only the second year the Division I transfer portal data has been made available as what they call an interactive dashboard. So basically, these dashboards were created in response to requests from the membership for more transparency around the portal and just kind of like education, I think, on it, because it's been such a, especially when it was first incepted, it was such a very foreign concept. So if you look at this tweet, these are all numbers that I kind of fact-checked as well. So these are all correct according to the document the NCAA published. First one right here. In Division II, 10,324 student athletes requested to be entered in the transfer portal, and a combined total of 3,033 successfully transferred to another NCAA program.
I'm no mathematician, but that's not great.
Holy shit, dude. That, I mean, let me actually, I kind of want to get like a percentage on that, because I should have done this before, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it right now. So it was what? 3,033 over 10,324. What's your guess?
30.
30? I mean, yeah, you're close. It's basically 29%. You round. It's 29%.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
So less than a third of the actual athletes who requested to be entered into the transfer portal successfully transferred to another NCAA program. Now, I think a caveat to that stat, NAIA.
True.
Right? So, I mean, you could have D3 or D2 guys, I think pretty common for them to transfer. That NAIA is a somewhat comparable level, depending on where you're at in the country, what league you're talking about. But
that can't be that big of a percentage.
Exactly.
Either.
That's
what,
not
maybe like 7 or 8% probably.
If that. I would say if that. Yeah.
And that's on the high end.
What the league here, it's the what's the NAIA conference right here? Why am I blanking on it? The Michigan and Wisconsin. It's basically Michigan, Wisconsin.
I think Valley's in it. It's like something.
It's Wolverine something, I thought. I don't know. Either way, that's a pretty good NAIA conference. They got some good teams in there. But still, that stat is wild. Moving on to the next one here. 18% of Division II coaches reported high levels of stress related to the perceived need to recruit four-year transfers into their program. That's lower than I expected, actually. Kind of interesting. And I wonder, like, that's not really as much of a tangible stat, too, right? Like, high levels of stress. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
interesting one. But moving down here, you have some more stats on the D1 side of things. This says 67% of FBS, so football bull subdivision, the D1, like the bigger group of 5, Power 5 teams. Yes. 67% of FBS athletes and 58% of FCS, football championship subdivision athletes, entered with athletic aid from their departing schools. So over half of the guys at the D1 level are dudes that were on scholarship. And when you talk about FBS and FCS, they only deal in full scholarships.
Right.
So you're talking about guys that have a full scholarship to play football somewhere.
And they're betting on themselves to go somewhere else.
That's a much higher percentage than I was expecting.
Me too. I thought it'd be probably, I would say at least less than 50.
Yeah, dude.
That would have been my guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who has a full scholarship to play somewhere. And I'm not advocating for like if you think you can go play like at a much more big time school, like shit, we just saw a wide receiver from Hillsdale in the GMAC. He's going on scholarship to play at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like things like that happen, but they're kind of few and far in between. Right? Because guys coming out of high school, you kind of know where they're going to end up. Yeah. So that number is very surprising though, because you're talking about guys that have a full scholarship that have kind of living the dream, I think, of a lot of kids, and they
100%. It's
not enough. And hey, more power to them. Just hopefully it works out for them, right? The last one here: 63% of FBS athletes and 44% of FCS athletes received athletic aid at their new NCAA school.
So it goes down.
Again, that combined number is right about 50%.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then the rest of that money just gets reallocated, I guess, into recruiting and into maybe current guys on the roster. You have a couple, guys that earn a scholarship.
Yeah.
Because the money's got to go somewhere, right? It's kind of, what do you think about that? It's interesting.
I don't know. I think it's interesting, like, the fact that, I just blanked on my thought, but that's bad.
I hear you. No, I'm just pulling up the article to find more Division II specific stuff. But it's just
I think it's crazy the amount of guys that, like, how much it went down that they received aid after they went to a new school. So think about the people that they transferred while having aid, and then they go somewhere else without aid. So is that like guys that are at, like, I'll give you an example. They're at a MAC school. They're at Buffalo, for example.
And we should preface this by all saying that this is not just football. So,
okay, I'm just using football.
Yeah, we're using football as an example, but I just wanted to let you know, like, this is across, I believe, all sports.
All NCAA sports.
All NCAA sports. So this is not just football. We're a football podcast. We're football guys. We talk football. We understand this could be cross country, track, softball, wrestling, basketball, whatever it is. But keep going. So
is that a lot of guys that they're at a MAC school, whatever sport they play, and they think, well, I can go to even bigger. I can go Power 5, and they maybe get a PWO to a Power 5. Is that what a lot of that is? Like, they're leaving thinking they can get a scholarship, and then they end up getting a PWO. That is just, I want to know, like, more of the examples of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to hear, like, I think we'll have to get, like, some more specific stories, I think, from people kind of going through that process, because I just don't know enough really about it. And I think it's become much more straightforward, I think, right? Because you just have guys that you see on Twitter all the time, like, I've officially entered the transfer portal, and you get the email from the NCAA or your institution saying that, you know, Northern Michigan University has officially released you and entered your name into the portal, so you're visible to coaches, blah, blah, blah. I think it's become much more transparent, which is what they wanted. Because at first it was like, what the hell is this? It was like how we're treating NIL now.
Yeah.
Was how we started with the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. That was the one question I didn't get to with Gerren, is that he was a part of recruiting at D2 at Wayne State, and he obviously was in some aspect involved in recruiting at Michigan State.
Right. NIL.
What's the difference? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should have asked him that. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't get to it. I had it on my notes. I had it on my rundown. I did not get to it.
I should have looked at your notes, Gobi. That's not me.
You have it.
I know.
But
I know I have it.
I missed it. That's on me. But we can move over. Let's go. I want to go right to the XFL uniforms.
I'm down.
I'm excited about this one. The XFL, man, they're resurrected. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in the XFL. Let's start with what might be the favorite as far as the XFL uniforms go. That would be the Seattle Sea Dragons. And oh my goodness, those helmets.
I just think those helmets are so
cool. Like the detail of the dragon scaling in the helmets, and like the green face mask just works.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that a green face mask would work.
No, like
it looks good.
Navy.
Also, would you think that green and orange would look good together?
Kind of. Like,
you would
yes.
Think so?
So like yes, but my thing is this. I take it one step further. I think blue and orange
always goes together.
Yeah, simple enough, right? Green and orange, I think you can make maybe make work. But the three of them together, I think that's impressive.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting color palette, right? But again, I think it works. And those are their white jerseys.
They're sweet.
I have the spread of their other jerseys right here. If you give me just a second, I will pull these up. They have orange jerseys. So here's the orange and kind of the whole spread. Pretty cool. Nice detailed look.
So for the orange ones, is that green instead of blue on the sides, or is that still blue? Maybe I'm colorblind.
So that looks to me like navy on the shoulders. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, on the shoulders. Is it navy for both of them? Or away and
home? No. There's a little bit of green. Those are scales. I'm looking at the bottom, and it looks like down there, but at the top, I think that's definitely some scales.
The home ones have a little bit of.
They both do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just flipping the white and the orange, right? As far as tops and the bottoms.
Yeah, those might be the best.
Those might be that is a very strong start as far as our uniforms are concerned, and I don't know. I feel decent about like their main logo. That dragon is not bad. It's not,
and you got the S for.
Yep, good like secondary logo. Another, I think what will be another favorite, honestly, is the Houston Roughnecks, and they've made a lot of changes to the way their jersey looks this year as compared to the season in 2020. Now, hear me out on this one. I see your face. What's the first thoughts on this?
The helmets are atrocious.
Okay, I thought so too. The more I watched, the more it grew on me. And when you see it from this perspective, I think from there, it looks sick. And you think about on the side of the helmet, right? You have navy on one side, and then the other side is the white split with the red. It's the Texas flag, obviously.
Yeah.
Which I think is just a very creative and cool way to go about that. It's a little bit Houston Texan-esque, which I think is okay.
The idea is there. The execution and the helmets.
You don't think so?
I think that the jerseys look great.
Yep.
I think the jerseys look great.
Do you like the gradient numbers?
They're all right. They do a better job than the Falcons did.
Yes, dude. That was atrocious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. I just don't like the helmets very much. They're not the worst helmets I've ever seen, but
from this angle, I like them. They've grown on me. Like when you look at it head on, I think that looks pretty sick. Again, let's get the full spread here. We get a little bit of a better idea of what we're working with. Here's the full spread for the Roughnecks. So there you have like the more basic side of the helmet there with the Roughneck logo. And again, the jerseys are basically just flip-flopped, but there's some good details for you guys watching, at least on YouTube. Pretty cool stuff. If you're not watching this, that kind of sucks. You're kind of missing out on these. But if you're on Spotify, there is a video version of the podcast on Spotify. So go ahead and, if you're listening, just pull out your phone, check out the video version. Though. Yeah, don't do it if you're driving. Do not.
Don't do it.
Nope. Driving or operating a golf shagger, like we talked about.
Or mowing something. Probably not mowing right now. If you're
snow.
If you're in the Midwest, if you're plowing snow, look at the snow.
We can move on though. Another pretty strong contender. Although this version of their jersey, this variation is not my favorite. The St. Louis Battlehawks.
They have just a good color combination.
They do.
The silver,
all gray or all silver is a little bit much for me. I don't know if I love it. The other alternative is the blues, and I really liked their jerseys in 2020 with Jordan Tom, who also made it look really good because he was balling out. But if you take a look at this with their complete
was
jersey
Heineke
there,
on that team too?
I don't know that actually. He might have been. I know he was in the XFL.
I think that was.
You can fact check that for me. But looking at here, again, what stands out to me right here, the helmet. The wings and the helmet are just so clean to me. That's a really sick look. And they're actually even bigger than that, I believe. If we go back to the other picture, I believe they're actually bigger than that on the uniform. And, of course, I have a head-on picture pulled up, and we cannot see either wings.
And, yes, Taylor Heineke was a quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
There we go. The more you know.
I believe he was a backup.
Yeah. Behind Tomu, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that.
Yeah. And now he's, doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I mean, he's a backup quarterback still, but he had to run there.
He was a starting quarterback.
He was for a minute. Yeah, for a minute. So, good for him. But Battlehawks, definitely up there for me. I think
they're my number 2 from what we've seen so far.
Behind the Dragons?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a pretty fair assessment. Now, we can move on. I'll give you a pick here. Brahmas or Defenders? 2 pretty solid picks.
Let's go Defenders first.
The Defenders, the big thing that stuck out to me about these new Defenders uniforms, the helmets. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that in this first picture that I pull up. So there you go. You can see it right there.
Down.
So a couple details that stand out to me first. The stars on the shoulder right there, right on the edge of the shoulder pad, that defend like almost military-esque kind of ranking or status. Yeah. Love that detail. Otherwise, the jerseys themselves pretty simple. Stripes on the pants, clean. The helmet, though, is where they make it. The white face masks are clean as hell. Mm-hmm. Then you have just a little bit of that subtle camo going on the helmet. It's not. You might not even
realize that.
Yeah, you might not be able to see it from where you're sitting. But man, it is so clean. I might have a better picture of it here on the spread for you. Yes, I do. So here, I'll pull this up, and maybe you can see that a little bit better.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I really like that helmet right there, especially with the red visor. I mean, it's badass.
And I'm biased. My high school colors were cardinal and white, so I'm always going to like cardinal and white.
Yeah.
So I like those.
Not trying to do too much with a simple color scheme,
simple.
right?
Simple.
You're really not trying to do too much, but
sometimes simple's just nice.
But yeah, that touch of camo, I think, was like the little bit of flair that this plain jersey needed. Mm-hmm. And I love them, dude. I think they did a really good job with those.
They're better than the Renegades do.
Yeah. Helmet-wise?
Overall.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair. Agreed. All right. San Antonio Brahmas, a new team in the XFL this year. This is the first. We'll take a look at their grays here with that neon color. Yellow.
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
What is the logo on the helmet exactly?
So they're horns.
Oh.
And what's very interesting about that is I'll pull up the spread here as well in just a second. But they're horns. And
what's a Brahma?
This is a better angle. I don't really know.
is it like a longhorn?
I think so. but I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, there's horns right there, right? And they kind of wrap around the back of the helmet, which I think is very cool. As opposed to, I think the majority of helmet designs, like Rams and other things that we've seen, they kind of come from here, right? And they come from the front. Yes, exactly.
Even the eagle wing.
Yes,
like
yes.
That whole...
Like the Battlehawks just kind of did, right? We saw that.
Yeah.
So I think this is a cool take on, a different design idea.
Yeah.
And you can't really see in this picture, but the horns... when they come back and meet behind the helmet, there's a big B that like kind of cuts them out for Brahmas, and there might be a better. You can kind of see it on the back of his helmet. You can see a little bit of that B.
It looks nice.
Not trying to do too much. I think they're clean. And then there are other.
You don't want to do too much with that bright yellow.
No, but I mean they do have those neon yellow jerseys,
but they're still not too bad.
Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah, they're plain as far as design wise. They're pretty plain.
It's not too much. It's not
with it.
Yeah, I like them too.
I'm with the Brahmas. We got a couple more. I think we got 3 more. Let's go Renegades, because Renegades were a jersey in 2020 that I think people were really excited about. I think people are pretty excited about these ones too, but they made some big changes. These are the powder blues that I love.
Powder blue. Like, I just think powder blue uniforms always look good.
Let's get a nice zoom in on that. Yeah, powder blue is sick, right? And I will say, I'll take a look at their whites in a second. It's very Houston Oilers, correct?
Oilers.
Very Houston Oiler reminiscent. Their whites are with those color schemes.
This looks like the Titans a lot.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Same color combination.
Yeah. Now the choice of black on the helmet stripe is a little interesting to me, but I like it. Now, a little more importantly, I think there's like little slight variations in all these, right? So these guys have the very thick helmet stripe that tapers in the back, which is kind of interesting. The red gloves, there's just not a lot of red in the uniform for me. There's a line you'll see when I pull this up. There's a line that kind of goes through their numbers on the jersey, but there's just not a whole lot of red in the actual jersey itself, which I think probably could be better. Our logo is new from last year's logo. They had that like little bandit looking guy that was really sweet. I hope they keep him as like a secondary logo. But there, you see those
a little bit.
See those white ones?
They're all right. Yeah. I don't like the numbers very much.
No, with the line coming through.
Yeah.
You don't notice as much when it's on black, but when it goes to the powder.
Yeah. It's all right.
I think they took a step back because their uniforms in 2020.
Sweet, yeah. I think something with the XFL, all their logos look like most of them look too like they're like futuristic. Like,
yeah, they really they just upped the modern slider like as far as they could.
Yeah, like whatever that logo is.
Yeah, it's okay. So it's an R, but I'm trying to think of like what else it's supposed to be.
An A?
Like R, yeah, because I saw a D and an R for a second, then I was like, no, it's not that Dallas Renegade, it's Arlington.
It's just
I don't know. Yeah, it is.
They should have kept the little Renegade.
They should have kept the little Renegade guy. These guys made a total color change in their jerseys.
They were neon,
dude. Talking neon green and neon yellow.
That's what I thought.
And they were, I think they were still the Las Vegas Vipers. Now these are the Vegas Vipers. Lost the loss.
Well, that was smart.
Yep,
just sounds better.
It does. Vegas Vipers, pretty clean. I like the detail in the numbers on the jersey. I don't know if you can see that very well from where you're sitting right there. Can you? There's like some kind of fine texture in those numbers.
Is there like scales like a viper?
Yes. So it's got some of that snake skin type effect. Really like how those type of details are really cool. They also have it on the shoulders. And what makes it otherwise, again, kind of plain uniform, makes it stand out. Really like it. And then if we look at the spread of what else they've got going on, there you go.
Those are nice. I like them.
I will say, though, were those in the last picture that we just saw, were those the whites?
Yeah.
That's not it. There. Those are the whites? Yeah. They look gray almost. But, obviously, they're not the blacks.
Are they off? That looks like white.
White. Yeah, that did not look like the same jersey, right?
It looks almost off-white.
Yeah, but I like it.
I like it, too.
I like it a lot. Their logo's
It's better than whatever the Renegades was.
Yeah, you're not Renegade 8.
I'm still going to be on that. That looks horrible. It's not bad.
Yeah, I think Seattle definitely the favorite, though.
Oh, for sure. That's my favorite.
Yeah, and who'd you have behind them? DC or Battlehawks?
Probably Battlehawks.
And then DC?
Yeah, and then I'd go Brahmas after them.
Okay. Well, we have one more. We got one more. Orlando. It used to be the New York Guardians. It is now the Orlando Guardians. These are definitely not going to take your top spot away.
No.
Yeah.
They're just kind of not good.
That's the white jersey. Let me take a look
let's see the
here. I actually think the white jerseys are better than their others.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of?
Michigan State.
Yeah, you knew I was gonna say
dude,
it.
Immediately.
And I'm a diehard Michigan State fan, and
I
hate those uniforms. I really hope they get rid of them.
Decommission the uniforms?
Yes.
There's a weird cult following for those uniforms. You know that?
Really?
Like, there's a select group of individuals that will
them.
die, like, defending those uniforms on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you have.
It's crazy because they're pitiful.
There's the Guardian spread.
And so are those. The Guardians are also pitiful.
The helmet line itself, like going up the crown of the helmet, I think it's cool.
That's cool.
It's a cool little
Their
effort
home
there.
uniforms are
Let me find.
delicious.
Nope, that's Vipers, and I lost it. But yeah, I mean that's not. It doesn't really do much for me. I'm gonna go ahead and say Seattle consensus
top.
#1 pick. Number 2, you've got Battlehawks.
Yeah, Battlehawks.
I think I'll go Defenders on 2, and then
Okay.
Battlehawks 3. I'm gonna flip those, and then Brahmas for me is really clean. But I also then like Roughnecks and Renegades are there.
Roughnecks is don't say Roughnecks. You're wrong. Those helmets are so bad.
Either way, we ran through those. Pretty good stuff. We'll move on. The USFL college draft. This will be a pretty quick kind of recap of this, but basically, I want to preface it by saying that a lot of people are confused by this. Like, how are these guys getting drafted to the USFL?
Yeah.
A lot of these guys have NFL
I'm one of those people. I
aspirations.
texted Kobe earlier in this week. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I didn't understand.
Like, they can't do
whatsoever.
this. Like, these guys want to play in the league, not the USFL.
Yeah.
You know? So, if a player does not get drafted or ends up getting cut from an NFL roster in the season or in the future, they will revert to the roster of the USFL team that selected them. Kind of neat. So it could be like a backup plan, a backup feature, security.
I think that helps the USFL. It gives them they're not partnered with the NFL, but they got a little.
Because people talk about like the feeder system and what league will try to align themselves.
Almost somewhat of a feeder.
Feels like the first step.
First step, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, I think the USFL needed something like that because so far XFL is 100 times better.
XFL is it. XFL is it. Now, obviously, that could be recency bias as well because they're playing football and the USFL is not. But the product of football that we've seen from them is not bad, and the rules make it more engaging.
I like
fun.
the kickoffs.
Dude.
I do too.
And the 4th and 15
I
as opposed
like
to
it.
onside kick.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw is the prime example of that in that game. Yeah, the Battlehawks, and they come back and do that. So I thought that was really neat. Now, for the USFL draft, and you lost your thought earlier. Mine just totally went right out of my head. But this is the first time they've done a college draft, like a strictly college draft, which is kind of unique, I think. And the thing we talked about with Gerren a little bit, the first overall pick in the USFL draft was an offensive lineman out of Michigan State by the name of Gerren DuHart, and this is the graphic they used.
In his graphic.
Yeah, dude. That's not Gerren DuHart. Number 90, whoever that is.
The guy that is holding number 90 for U of M would be the first overall pick in the USFL draft.
That is not a good look. Like, how do you
I'm sure there's
that?
so many pictures of him, too.
Oh, there are. Block. Yeah, you want to look at the replies? I think one of the first ones was that basically, these are all, like, related. These aren't the replies. But I'll find it. But one of the first ones was literally, like, I just spent 3 seconds Googling this, and I already found a better picture. Yeah, exactly. But it's just a bad look. I don't really understand why they would do that. Some of the reactions, embarrassing graphic for an embarrassing league. That's pretty good, dude. There's a good one. Who is this guy? But just dumb.
It was how unprofessional.
Yeah, that's really bad. Like whoever made that graphic, I hope they got cut.
Yeah,
they got cut.
I mean, they can't be making that much money.
As a graphic designer for the USFL?
Yeah.
Probably not. But I don't know.
They should be doing better than that.
They should be. It's really bad. There's a lot of graphics for them to put out, in one day, but you got time in advance, I would assume, to at least do most of them. Anyways, wanted to touch on that because like I said in the beginning, in the intro, there were 62 guys that were drafted the USFL drafts. Check out our Twitter and our Instagram to see who those guys were. And then one NAIA guy from Benedictine? I don't know.
I would say Benedictine
College. Benedictine College.
That's how I would say it.
There you go.
But I don't go there, so I don't know for sure.
Benedictine College, we'll stick with it. That was drafted as well, which was pretty cool for him to see, and pretty cool for us to see that the guys are getting picked up from that level. Now, this is what I was going to say earlier. Just came back to me. The USFL is in such a unique position, I believe, in this first annual inaugural college draft. Yeah. Because as a USFL owner, coach, whoever the hell is doing the drafting. I assume it's the coaches, right? Because there's no owners and GMs, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Because you have owners of like the league. Anyways, assume it's the head coach. They are in a very interesting position because some people who just didn't really understand the concept are like, why aren't they drafting Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and Will Anderson and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those guys. And you have to think about it. He's the first overall pick in the USFL draft. That's them saying, I think you are the best of the guys that will not get a chance in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right? I think that puts them in a very interesting predicament. So I read a couple articles on it, and basically that's what they were thinking. They're looking at guys who are projected 5th round or like later or undrafted free agents or potentially just don't get any calls. Those are the guys that you're looking at, which is, I think, a very interesting situation.
What I found interesting, I thought there'd be a lot more guys from smaller schools.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what was it? Did you say 62 and 1 NAIA?
1 NAIA.
That I thought there should
everyone else was FBS or FCS,
which is very surprising to me.
Agreed. Now this graphic that we're going to throw up here is kind of to go along with that notion, though. 2023 USFL college draft by conference among FBS schools. All FBS schools. You'll see the Power 5 teams on here. The SEC is last on this list
because most of them get drafted.
Exactly.
Into the NFL.
Exactly. So the Big 12 leads with 9 players, which, you know, is like, oh, yeah, that's great for the Big 12. And you're like, is it, though?
No, it means that their product of players is worse than the other Power 5.
Yes, it means that you're exactly right. It means the coaches think these guys are good enough to play professional football, but not good enough to crack it consistently on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
So 9 players from the Big 12, 8 players from the ACC, 6 from the Big 10. Then you get into some group of 5 schools here. You got 4 players from Conference USA, the MAC, and the Sun Belt. 3 players from, is that the American Conference?
Yeah, that's American.
Mountain West and the Pac-12. And then at the very bottom, the SEC. Apparently, the Pac-12 and the SEC are right here as far as competition, right?
It looks funny that Pac-12, Mountain West, and AAC
are just in the same part of a graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
I mean, Pac-12, it's just, they're always
is Pac-12 there because they're at the same level as Mountain West and the American Conference? Or is it because they're at the same level as the SEC?
I think you could argue both. Either way on that one. Yeah, both. They're at the same level of both.
Yeah, it's like a rhetorical question.
But pretty interesting. And I guess I'll just show you the graphic that we put out on our socials. Here are the small school athletes that were taken in the USFL college draft. You have Darius Hagens from, I believe, Virginia State. Andrew Farmer was from Lane College. Quentin Barrow, we played against, from Grand Valley. Ethan Evans from Wingate. You have Joey Fisher from Shepherd. Trey Botts from Colorado State Pueblo. And then Chim Okorafor from Benedictine College.
A lot of guys in the trenches.
Not a lot of skill position, only the one running back. So,
which is interesting.
Interesting. It makes you think, like, you know, can't coach size, right?
Yeah.
You can't coach size.
I also thought Quentin Barrow was definitely getting looked at by NFL scouts.
Yeah, so that's what really surprised me. I will say he was taken like 18th overall in this draft, so like definitely highly regarded. So maybe they're thinking,
okay, we 18th pick. Maybe he comes with maybe he comes to us, maybe he doesn't. Like,
and also we heard about that caveat I was reading earlier that if, say, Quentin Barrow gets a chance, if he's not drafted, he gets a chance as an undrafted free agent, which I think is a very good possibility.
Right.
Say he goes halfway through the season on a practice squad and gets cut.
You can go over.
All of a sudden, guess who has the rights? Well, I should say the rights, but who can bring in Quentin Barrow as first dibs? I'm gonna sneeze. Man, I went out of the mic for y'all. Hope you appreciate that because that was brewing for a second. But it could work out for them.
Yeah,
could work out for them big time.
So, do you know if they have another draft coming? Like, do they have a draft that they did last year as well?
Because that was just the college draft. Like, I would assume they do because they have to fill out their roster.
They have to fill them out with. Then you get guys that didn't make the cut in the NFL that are 2-3 year veterans, 4-year veterans. You know what I mean?
Yep. We'll finish it out. A couple pieces of NFL news, just very quickly, kind of run through. Rams releasing linebacker Bobby Wagner after just one season. The
Detroit
NFL.
Lion?
That's kind of the conversation, right? So Bobby Wagner hit free agency last year for the first time in his decade-long NFL career. Going to be a free agent now after the Rams released him. He was only there for 1 year. I think it was a pretty productive one.
He played good.
Yeah, played pretty well. Seemed like for him, at least for him. Obviously, look at the stats of the team and everything, but
he clearly just doesn't want to be there. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of what it sounds like.
Because he played good. I mean,
yeah. Also, a salary cutting move, I think, by the Rams. Looks like here currently more than $14 million above the salary cap. So
yeah, that's not ideal, especially when you didn't even make the playoffs.
Exactly. So he's 32 years old, and it's going to be interesting. Obviously, a veteran guy. The Rams had signed him to a 5-year, $50 million deal last April. Received $20 million in guarantees, which included $10 million in signing, and both his 2022 base salary and 2023 roster bonus were fully guaranteed. So Rams are taking a $7.5 million dead money hit this year. But it's interesting. Started all 17 games for the Rams. Career best 6 sacks while adding 140 tackles, 10 for loss, 2 interceptions, and 5 passes defended. Holy shit.
He played good.
Dude, that's better than good. I didn't realize it. I knew he was playing well for them and added that veteran chip to their defense.
He's still playing at an elite level.
Holy shit.
He's playing at an elite level.
Career best 6 sacks for a middle linebacker.
He's going to look great in that Honolulu blue.
He's going to look fantastic.
Fantastic.
That's a move that I could definitely see them making. I know the guys there like Anzalone. Anzalone is not Bobby Wagner.
No, I love Anzalone.
I've grown to like him a lot more after watching him play.
He's not Bobby Wagner, and will never be anywhere close to Bobby Wagner.
Probably not, and that's okay because that's a pretty high, standard to try and live up
But Anzalone, he's not on that big of a contract.
Exactly.
You can bring in Wagner.
Probably keep him around. Is what you're saying, right? You don't have to. They're not mutually exclusive. You can have a little bit of both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So. And especially when you talk about how much playing time Rodrigo got this year, Malcolm Rodriguez, bringing in a guy like that, even with guys like Hutch and like James Houston, if we pick up another edge guy in this year's draft, like what he would do for them, and what really is a younger secondary too, like that whole defense, I feel like for the majority, right? Aleem McNeil on the D line and a couple other guys.
It's a very young defense.
Yeah, so exciting stuff. We're ready for him to make it official with the Lions whenever they make that happen. Also, obviously, like the talk has been about Jalen Ramsey too, but like that, I don't know if that has any backing to it at all. He'll
be a Lion as well.
We're just gonna get all of them.
We're gonna get all of them.
Back to the Detroit Ram talks.
Yep.
Finally,
Stafford's coming back as well.
And brought a broken neck or back or whatever it is. Jesus. Finally, to finish out today, Dave Canales, offensive coordinator for the Bucs, wants Kyle Trask to, quote, just be a point guard at quarterback. That's what he said. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know what that's supposed to mean because, of course.
Why don't I tell you?
You're going to tell me?
I'm gonna try. So Kyle Trask, 2021 second-round pick, obviously having to fill the shoes of Tom Brady, GOAT. At the same time, dude, that's pretty funny. I don't love Tom Brady. I don't like Tom Brady. But
I don't even think Tom Brady's the GOAT.
That's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
Before we anger people. This is what Canales said about Trask. He said, he was able to distribute, and the thing we're going to help Kyle continue to build on here is just be a point guard. Point guards don't have to be the ones that score all the points. You just distribute. Play on time, get the ball out of your hands. Life's better that way. You've got these bears chasing you. Get rid of the ham, and that's the football.
So he wants them to basically be a Tom Brady, just distribute, just be
Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think the football term, that's what the football term for those type of quarterbacks, I don't think is point guard.
Game manager.
Thank you. It's exactly what it is. And that's what Jimmy Garoppolo has been called, I think, for a long time.
At the same time, you could say Tom Brady's just the greatest game manager there ever was.
You totally could.
Yeah, because that's what he is.
That's
all he is. I mean, he's not a great athlete. That's what he is.
No, 100%. And you are right in that. And the thing is, like, I also think it's funny that title only comes when you're on a really good roster.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Garoppolo is a prime example of that. When you have guys around you that are playmakers like that, I think people love to divert praise and things away from the quarterback in other situations where they wouldn't.
They call Kirk Cousins that all the time, too.
They do.
Even though, I don't know if he's really... He has a good arm. Like, it's... I don't know if he's a game manager.
Yeah. No, I think he's a better quarterback than that. But it'll be interesting to see if that's the guy.
I saw another quote that said, I don't know if it was also the offensive coordinator, but someone saw this on Twitter today that said that Kyle Trask could be the best quarterback in their division. And
I did see that as well.
And then the replies were hilarious. It's like, that's not much competition coming from that division.
So, I mean, look at the rest of their division. Is Jameis Winston still with the Saints? He's not, is he?
I don't know.
I don't think he is.
Is Dalton still with the Saints? I don't know.
So then you look at
he could
the
be
Panthers. Is Sam Darnold, right? Still.
I think he's a free agent.
He is. You're right.
So Matt Corral is the only quarterback on the roster currently.
Holy shit, and he was injured.
He didn't play the whole season.
Yeah, exactly. So then is Cincinnati
Ritter.
Is Ritter the best quarterback in the NFC South?
Technically, he's probably the only
proven one.
He's not even proven.
Taysom Hill.
Well, he's not a quarterback, but
come on,
he's an athlete. He's an athlete.
That is a weird conversation. Like, he might be the best. Ritter is probably the most proven quarterback in
currently. Yes,
yeah. I don't know who their backups are on the other team, so we could be a little bit off on that. I guess. Yeah. But sweet, that's all we got. Good stuff. I'm gonna go blow the shit out of my nose. My left nostril is operating at 0% capacity.
Down to 0.
It's down to 0.
It was 5 earlier.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good.
It's not good. I'm gonna go blow my nose and go to bed. Thank you for listening. D1 Rejects, episode 88.